Hola, bienvenidos. Welcome back. Steve here. We are back and at it again in Chapter 5, Radar. All things Chapter 5. It's been a couple of episodes since we really focused in on some of the privileges and rights afforded to you by that great chapter, the Radar chapter. So, yet again, I'm really excited. Today, without further ado, we will be covering two jets walk into a restriction bar. Get it? ATC humor for you, right? A little restriction bar, right? Two jets. But not all jets are the same, as we will learn, or you will learn, both in the lab and in the OJT environment. So here, I busted out some models here, not the supermodel variety, but the 1/400 scale model variety, a little heavy MD-11 versus an Airbus A321, trying to keep tabs on overtakes here at San Juan Center in more detail in Sector 6, even further detail on the Oconee 3 departure. So let's get at it, and we'll teach you how to navigate your way through this common occurrence. See you there. All right, so here we are, Sector 6 on position, casually working Air Canada 957, the San Juan to Toronto run, Airbus A321, all things appear to be well, and they are, right? Air Canada 957s, not climbing the greatest nor going the fastest, but they're full of fuel, bags, and wonderful Canadian vacationers, right? So all is well, we really don't care how Air Canada 957 performs because they're our only aircraft up until we see this flash and we take the handoff. FedEx 252, heavy MD-11 on the Oconee 3 as well. Okay, so little did you know, or maybe you did know, you took a brewing overtake situation, right? Not all jets are created equal, right? We see, obviously, by the call signs that these two aircraft serve different functions. One's passengers, one's cargo. One probably dropped off a lot of cargo and is only probably taking a fraction of that back, i.e. FedEx 252, and one just dropped off a whole bunch of Canadian tourists, right? Wonderful North Americans at that, and taking back, sadly taking back, Canadian tourists back to the wonderful winterland of Canada. We'll pretend this is sometime in January, right? So full bags, full people, full fuel, souvenirs, carry-ons, the whole nine. So we have this situation brewing here that we can anticipate, right, through a little institutional knowledge, through training, and just through sheer experience, that we have a situation here where we have to alleviate and deconflict this overtake situation, right? That's why we previewed Chapter 5, right? Radar and speed adjustments, right? We have a chapter for this. We have guidance. So wonderful. So you take the handoff, and here it is. Sure enough, San Juan Center, FedEx 252, climbing to 10,000, looking for higher. Sure enough, look, they're at 8,800. And if you do a little research about the MD-11, the angle at which they climb is great, like almost like 20 degrees. So they sometimes have to go nose down just to make the altitude assigned by ATC. Did a little research for this. So it's amazing how well they climb. So get those guys climbing. So let's take an inventory, go to a bulleted list, and we'll solve this. So don't you worry. We're going to have a good time with this. All right, see you there. Okay, so as stated before, this is a common occurrence on the Oconee SID, right? There's only a couple ways to get out of the San Juan area going to Miami Center. One of which is the Oconee 3 departure, which is fine. It's a fine SID that serves its purpose. But 80% of all traffic that will depart the San Juan terminal area will go through Sector 6. So we have one SID serving the San Juan terminal area, not to mention how much en route traffic goes over Oconee and goes off into Miami Center's airspace. So we are blending San Juan terminal area traffic, St. Thomas, St. Croix, Juliana, and all overflight eastbound going towards Miami Center's airspace will arrive into Sector 6 around the Oconee area. Right now, the other way to get out of San Juan Center through Sector 6 is go west of the island, so fly Route 2, right? Leave San Juan, go out towards Aguadilla, and from there they can join the en route structure, the high en route structure. Off Brinken, Miguel area, right? Yankee 421, Red 763, Lima 452. And of course, we know at Oconee, going back to what we were just talking about, right? The last point we made, Oconee Yankee 308, Oconee Yankee 185, and Oconee Yankee 280. So a lot of airways, a lot of stuff going on in Sector 6, okay? So the devil is in the details. We have to break this down. And there are some helpful clues other than just what is presented to us on the radar scope, right, which is right on the display, is going to tell us some things. So we'll go over that in a second. So back to chapter 5, section 7 we go. Speed control, you got this, no doubt about it. So we'll offer some techniques to solve this, right? Remember, do what your training team says. Do what your trainer wants you to do, right? They have good institutional knowledge as well, and they have great techniques. This is just my technique, but just one that I feel that it's kind of like the Ronco stove, right? Set it and forget it almost. So not quite forget it, because there's some things you have to babysit. So vectoring, speed control, education, and practice, right? Those points will hammer it home. You'll be blazing your way through these situations because they do occur often. So often enough where we wanted to dedicate a PowerPoint to it. So kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy, if you will. So you'll be a pro at solving this in no time. Let's get back and take a look at some information. We'll take a look at those details we just alluded to. Okay, see you there. Here we are, a tale of two aircrafts, right? A tale of two Jet A burners, right? So we have Air Canada 957. You see Airbus A321. Filed ground speed and true airspeed 440 and 445 respectively. And we take a look. It's a pretty unremarkable flight plan, right? Going out Donku. FedEx 252, a little different. Heavy MD-11. Filed for a slightly faster ground speed, right? 467, 470. And they also, too, filed a pretty standard flight plan over Donku, right? So here we go. Let's just break down. This is kind of funny because I love airplane characteristics, right? I love plane spotting. I love knowing the little idiosyncrasies of each aircraft. So the A321, two CFM56B3 high bypass turbofans, right? So CFM56, great engine, right? Used on a whole bunch of aircrafts, right? Airbus products, right? The Airbus A320 family, the 737 family, not to mention all of the other applications, military, other private Boeing business jets, all kind of applications, right? So great engine, right? Tested, true. But here we go. Some details about it. Full of passengers, fuel, and bags will do about 280, 290 knots in the climb max, right? Maximum, right? We're talking under wonderful conditions, right? Ideal conditions, right? The climb rate, not so good here. 1,800, 2,000 feet per minute in the climb. Sometimes you're lucky to even get that. Sometimes it's right around 1,000 to about 1,500 on the Oconee 3. Like I said, these aircraft are full of people, right? This flight usually occurs on a 2-day out of the week basis during the season, so it's usually chock full of people coming off cruise ships or visiting the wonderful Caribbean or the island of Puerto Rico, full of their souvenirs, carry-ons, bags, a whole bunch of stuff, right? And we go over here to FedEx 252 Heavy MD-11, right? 3GE CF680C high bypass turbofans. At near empty lightweight, will do 355 knots above 10,000 in the climb. Dang, that is impressive, right? Climb rate around 3,000 feet per minute in the climb, right? We know that FedEx, they bring in a whole bunch of cargo onto the island. It gets distributed through what, FedEx does with the trucks and stuff, but they don't leave completely full. We know that there's not so many products leaving Puerto Rico as there is coming in. So they are light and they are ready to get up and out. So what does this mean? Well, let's break it down here. So as per 7110.65, 573 speed adjustments to departure turbojets. Do not assign speed less than 230 knots. That's the only rule we can comply with, right? So with that restriction, right? The restriction bar thing, we're gonna not deal with any of that. We are going to do our best to use aircraft characteristics here, the wonderful, powerful prowess of this heavy MD-11, and have them bypass, right, the Air Canada 957. So ideally, we would like to get them out, vector them, parallel our course until they pass them, right? Because not only are they going to go faster, they're going to climb a lot better. If left on the Oconee 3 departure, they would overtake and hopefully outclimb the aircraft. But that's not positive separation. Let's deal with this positively. Let's get vectors going, so we have some headings going to ensure lateral separation, and let aircraft characteristics take care of the rest. Aircraft characteristics and aircraft performance will dictate when we get FedEx 252 back on course. It's also good to vector them because they are faster and they're going to climb better. So the overall time of being impacted, whether you want to call it adversely impacted, inconvenience by being placed on a vector will be minimal compared to if we were to try to vector Air Canada 957 out of the way. Okay, so yeah, we can use vectoring to help us out with this one, right? So queue up the blow by and over. So I'll see you at the next slide. Okay, so here we are again. As you see, I'm no longer in the video because FedEx 252 is a little more important to see than me, which is perfectly fine, right? You can do this just the same. So we have FedEx 252 who did check in, right, just to bring us up to date to what exactly we have going on. And one of the things we want to do, right, is to make our primary goal, our first thing we do to ensure the positive separation of FedEx 252 and Air Canada 957. Now, we thought that would be best done and sought out via a vector. So, using all the knowledge that you have acquired by watching this video or just knowing the nature of air traffic control, it should come no surprise to you that we have to get control of this aircraft because they're not in our altitude stratum or within the lateral or the vertical confines of our airspace. So R1R5, R6 request control, R1R5. Request control, FedEx 252 for turns. FedEx 252, your control. Perfect. Now, that split second, less than 10-second conversation we just had, we can put up a halo, nothing wrong with the decision support tool here. Actually, it should be highly encouraged, right? Now we can visualize what we need to attain, right? We need to realize and make sure that this bubble, this halo around FedEx 252 does not impede upon Air Canada 957. So good, it helps us with our decision-making process and what vector we will pull out of our back pocket. So let's keep it going. FedEx 252, San Juan Center, turn right heading 350, vector traffic, climb, maintain, file 340. Perfect, that sounds really nice. Up to 340, heading 350, FedEx 252. Boom, what do? We bust out what we know from chapter 5, right? The speed adjustment stuff. FedEx 252, maintain maximum forward speed. Are you able? Flight level 360 for overtaking traffic at Dongku. Perfect. Here's what we are trying to set up. Now, we have institutional knowledge on our side, right? We've worked this situation maybe a couple times before. But as we know, air traffic control is highly dynamic and subject to change, right? Sometimes plan A, plan B, plan C don't even work out, right? So what are we doing here? We are asking FedEx to keep it fast, right? We did that by the book phraseology. We want them to surpass Air Canada 957. Now, we don't have a lot of space to do it. Sector 6 is small, right? We talked about it, probably only just shy of 150 miles, and Air Canada is already making their way through the sector, not quite a quarter of the way through, and FedEx is just starting out. So we're getting the FedEx, we want to keep them fast, and guess what? We know when we kind of breezed over the aircraft characteristics that FedEx 252 is going to outclimb Air Canada 957 and overtake them in speed. So guess what? If for some reason things don't go as anticipated, we would be handing Miami two guys holding hands at 34 or something, right? So we want to get on the front end of that and ensure positive separation when they leave our airspace. And what better way to do that than using vertical separation, right? Because FedEx, usually they play ball. And guess what? Climb, maintain, file 360, good. So we know that they're going to outclimb, outspeed, and now they will have an altitude 2,000 feet above Air Canada, leaving our airspace. So we even guaranteed if things go awry from these two aircraft's current position and time for them to be handed off to Miami Center, we can give that radar handoff under the provision of being clear of conflicts, right? And more often than not, FedEx 252 will oblige you. So they'll be like, affirm, able flight level 360. FedEx 252, climb and maintain flight level 360. Perfect. So we have them on a heading to diverge so the overtake doesn't take place. And guess what? The heading mixed with the maximum forward speed, mixed with an altitude that is 2 flight levels, correct for direction of flight above Air Canada 957, we are well on our way to guaranteeing you that nothing is going to prevent us from dealing with this situation in terms of positive separation, okay? Very good, let's keep it going. Okay, so great job with that, right? So maybe that all didn't seem clear to you right away, so let's break it down and talk about what we aimed to achieve with what we just said, right? Consider the following, as Bill Nye would always say. Recall that the Oconee SID has no Donku transition. That's true. It only has one published transition. It's the Sappho transition. There is no FECO transition. There is no Donku transition, right? But we know by NOTAM that after PALDI, the aircraft will either go direct Donku or direct FECO, right, if they found those fixes. So good. It's kind of not prudent because we can't show you the plate and say, hey, this is what they're going to do. They're going to go direct after this. So a little unimaginative. So no use bringing up the plate. If you want to bring up the plate, all power to you. You know, AirNav or SkyVector is perfect for that. So if you do plot, which we did use SkyVector, PALDI direct Donku is roughly a 332 heading, right? So going fast, still behind, climbing well, right? All these wonderful characteristics that describe how that MD-11, right? How that FedEx 252 is doing, and the 350 heading will ensure a parallel track. Actually, not even quite parallel. It's going to ensure a track that will start to realize lateral separation, right? We even have our halo up there, so we should be scanning and continuously looking and seeing how that is developing, right? So with the altitude change, you also ensured separation at Donku, right? So if all of your control action failed, the speed, the vector, and you have to get them back on course to comply with the Miami Center LOA or getting them back on course, right, as you should, all else fails, you ensured vertical separation at some point, right? So you're golden. So let's keep working at this and maximize our efficiency, right? We ensured safety. Let's work on our expediency and our efficiency of this operation in particular. So, okay, see you soon. Okay, so here we are back at the sector, and we have our vertical velocity indicator pulled up, right? The vertical velocity indicator is you slew on the target with the leftmost button on your trackball, and it'll appear, and it shows you how well the aircraft are climbing in terms of feet per minute. So we see Air Canada 957 is doing about what we expected to do. Full bags, full of people, full of their carry-ons, full of fuel, flying to Canada, which is a lot farther. Toronto's a lot farther from San Juan than Memphis is. So yeah, 950 feet a minute sounds about right. I promise you this is based in reality, right? This is not just me making this up. These characteristics, these performance issues to make this presentation hammer home a point. No, I promise you, there's been many a times where you look at how an Airbus A321 is climbing, right? We have enough carriers that come through San Juan who use the A321 to see that they do not climb particularly well in this situation, and that's fine. FedEx 252, this is predictable as well. This is based in reality too, almost 3,000 feet a minute. Shoot, sometimes they do almost 4,000 feet a minute, right? So that's fine. This clip here is to show you that we have achieved lateral separation now, right? And we do not want FedEx 252 to be flying on a 350 heading for an exorbitant amount of time. Why? Well, think about where they are pointed at. They are no longer pointed at the confines of the boundary with Miami Center. They're pointed at that weird triangle between us, New York non-radar airspace, and the edge, the easternmost edge of Miami Sector 63. We know there's spotty radar coverage for them out there, right? They don't see the target relatively close to the boundary, right? That's about the extent of Grand Turk's radar coverage area. New York doesn't have radar, and we have radar out there. We know the radio can be an issue there sometimes. The frequency sometimes isn't as strong as there. So we do not want FedEx 252 going off on a 350 heading for a long amount of time and getting into some kind of non-radar point out traffic coordination thing with New York and Miami, right? We want to get them back on course, and over Donku essentially is our end game, right? So knowing that we are able to devote our scan, our time to this situation, we do this. FedEx 252, turn left heading 330, vector on course, expect Donku reaching flight level 360. At flight level 360, resume normal speed. Perfect, that was not too much. What did we give them? We gave them a heading, 330, right? We are now paralleling Air Canada 957. We told them to expect Donku leaving 36, right, as per our plan, what we talked about, right? And we told them at 360, resume normal speed. Now, you could have said at leaving 350, resume normal speed because you have 1,000 feet above, right, if you're wanting to be ultra positive, right? But that's fine. 36 is just the same, right? So good job ensuring all of that for the reasons we just talked about. Things are looking really good here, okay? So if you were working Sector 6 by yourself, remember that you would have had to point out. I have the R tags pulled up, but I take it that you know enough right now that that aircraft FedEx 252 is clearly in R4's airspace, and you would have done a point out as well. Okay, so let's keep it going. All right, good job. So here we are back at the sector again. The halo pulled up. You see FedEx 252 is climbing like an absolute boss, right? And Air Canada is still making their way as to be expected, right? There's been so many occasions where whether you're a D side or radar associate and or a radar controller, and how many times you app rack a slow climbing A321, right? We know the call signs, we know the carriers who use them, right? Air Canada just happens to be the one we picked on today because I had a model of an Air Canada A321, right? It's nothing against anybody, it just is what it is. But look, the 330 heading's working out. It's paralleled to Air Canada 957. We threw up Dongku to let us know that Air Canada 957 will eventually proceed over Dongku after completing the Akoni 3 departure. And FedEx 252 is almost to be level at 36 here. Wonderful on the speed. So guess what? We can anticipate a little bit, right? Just use a little bit of logic here, knowing aircraft characteristics and performance. Just like that Ronco said, set it and forget it. FedEx 252 clear direct Dongku, right? This is like the nail in the coffin. This is finishing up, making it look clean and absolutely wonderful. Direct Dongku, FedEx 252. Really good job with that, right? Perfect. Good job with that. Look at what you are met with. FedEx 252 at an exponential rate, now 100 knots faster than Air Canada, level at 36, direct Dongku. Air Canada 975 is direct Dongku. They've been that way since Pouty, still making their way to 34. Maybe you would call Miami 63 NAPREC climbing if you're so inclined. Great job to practice that if you wanted to, your interphone phraseology, but perfect. You see how this works out? A little heading, knowing aircraft characteristics, right? Knowing aircraft characteristics, having the aircraft perform the way you want them to, right? Using those rights and privileges afforded to you by Chapter 5, Section 7, speed adjustments, right? And using the proper phraseology and just knowing overall a little bit how things work out, right? You won't get this on your first time. This is going to take a couple of trial and error. You're going to sit down under a couple of sessions, get really mad at yourself, step climbing people, watching the targets get too close, having to use vertical separation, maybe vectoring one versus the other or something like that. But you'll get this, right? This is just a little introductory concept, right? Fundamentals. But great job with that, right? Covered a lot. We learned a little bit about aircraft characteristics, more speed control, vectoring. Can never get enough of that, right? We've been so often vectoring for inbound sequence, we kind of forgot how it could help us with departing aircraft. Well, here's an example. You guys did a great job. See you at the exit slide. Well, here we are, right? We made it. And a little cartoon here for you. Watch out for me there, fella, right? Because we know that 3 high bypass turbofans are better than 2. And this will happen. You'll get mad. You'll be like, why wasn't FedEx first? Or UPS in this case, and JetBlue followed him. And well, that's just the way the sequence is. It tests your skills as a controller. It should be not something that you want to shy away from. It's not detrimental to your operation. It just gives you an opportunity to seek out that toolbox that you have, right? The tool belt, right, that you have, and apply some knowledge and make things work out. It's what you get paid for, right? These adverse situations. Air traffic controllers don't get paid for what they do. No, that's a misconception. We get paid for what we might have to do. And this is one of those situations where air traffic controllers are absolutely paramount in their duties, right? You take care of situations like this, right? It's a conflict that occurs relatively often, and you're there to ensure separation, right? So it's awesome. And a wonderful thought as we leave this presentation is, hey guys, may your separation be always like your attitude. Be positive. Great job, guys. I will see you next time. All right, bye now.